Hello, and on today's show, Industrial Light and Magic is doing some really cool stuff.
Lego My Doctor Who.
Assassins vs. Templars on the big screen.
And the Smurfs dropped their lawsuit against Eiffel 65.
This is episode 2 of the Geek 30 Happy Hour. Welcome back to another episode of the Geek 30 Happy Hour. I'm joined again by my good friend Jojo Maldonado.
Jojo says hi.
There it is. How are you, Jojo?
I'm very good. How about you, sir?
Pretty good, man. And also joining us on the show is our producer and the maker of all the wonderful music you guys hear, Jamie Sweetland.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good, my friend. So, everybody kind of knows about Jojo and me at this point. Why don't you talk a little bit about you?
All right. Well, so I'm a computer engineer by day, and all sorts of other things by night. Among them, obviously, music production. I've been a musician for my whole life. I was in a band for years. Kind of built my own little home studio. It's kind of my little home away from home downstairs where I can get away from things. Because I do have 2 kids.
Yeah.
My wife is wonderful. My kids are great and very loud and exhausting.
Yeah.
As all children are.
Yeah.
So
it sounds familiar to the story of a lot of folks, I think, that end up in our shoes. They're old and they can't be doing all the stuff that they used to be able to do.
They don't have time to dedicate to movies and shows and video games and music.
But what can you do?
Life happens.
Yeah, and Jamie and I, God, how long have we known each other now?
A long
time. Some
like
background.
A decade or so?
Yeah, actually even longer. I feel like I've known you longer than that. Some background, folks. His wife Melissa and I used to work together at a high-tech computer company with a certain fruit in the name. And we worked together and became very good friends, became very close. And she was always telling me, she was like, you really got to meet my husband. You guys would get along splendidly. And I said, all right, well, we were talking about common interests in music and video games and stuff. And I remember we went out we went and saw some band play or something. All of us went out together, and we were sitting there, and I said, and I remember talking to you for a while, and I was like, yeah, no, this dude's awesome. This is awesome. And so I remember Melissa always telling me, Jamie was in a band back in the day, and it never really clicked what the name of the band was. And then it came to mind, we were sitting there, you had gotten up to go to the bathroom or something. And I looked at Melissa, I said, wait, what band was he in? And she was like, 1/3 Dork. And I said, holy shit. and the reason I said holy shit is because back in high school, my buddy Chris and I used to listen to your all's band a lot.
Crazy.
We used to listen to you guys. And it was one of those things where I was like, holy shit, small world.
Yeah.
So so it's really funny, and Jamie made some great music. He still makes great music.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and we still play some music together every once in a while. Like I said, I've been playing guitar and everything for 15 years, but this dude's a musical genius. And so it's wonderful to have him as part of the project. Like I said, he helps us produce this show and provides all that wonderful music that you guys hear. And again, thank you for all you do.
Yeah,
super thanks, definitely.
Yeah,
thank you for giving me a creative outlet.
That's what this is about, man. This is good.
I can't get that jingle out of my head. Sorry.
Oh, I know.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually listen to it when I'm driving sometimes.
Right.
It's so good. So let's get into what we're drinking tonight. Jojo, you want to do a little introduction?
We've got in front of us Genesee. We've actually got their cream ale.
Yes.
And this is, I don't know, this is kind of a throw-off. I wasn't expecting what came out of this can. It's actually really amazing. I'm a big fan of it. Alex was saying something about a 50-50 chance of whether or not you like it or you don't like it. There's no in-between, apparently.
And I say that because Jamie over here introduced me to this beer, and he specifically wanted to bring it on because he had that, he said that exact same thing to me. He said, you're either going to love it or you hate it. And I love it. I think it's great.
I love it too.
I've given it to many friends, and they're like, "Here, you can have the rest." So, just to kind of give you some background, right, if you guys hadn't heard of it, per their website, in the old days, there were ales and there were lagers. Ales were flavorful, lagers were smooth, and never the twain did meet. Never the twain did meet. That's like freaking poetry. All right. Until Genesee Cream Ale came along, and then the twain met head on to form an American original with the flavor of an ale and the smoothness of a lager. Cream ale is unique then, now, and always. They talk about how they do it. They say, we skillfully warm ferment Genesee Cream Ale with our own signature top fermenting yeast. I don't know what the hell that means.
I actually do know what that means.
Yeah?
There you go.
I actually brew beer occasionally.
Why am I not just
Of course.
No surprise there.
So the difference is that lagers and ales use different kinds of yeast.
Oh, okay.
And lager yeast, when it's fermenting, all sinks to the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And ale yeast all floats to the top.
Gotcha.
That's all
Gotcha.
it means. So it's just the direction from which it works
it's,
on
it's
the
science, people. Science.
Yes.
Science.
Chemistry at work.
Yes. During the aging process, every batch of cream ale is what does that say, Jamie?
That says krausened.
Krausen.
And I actually had to look that up to see what that was.
Really, what does that even mean?
Krausening is because normally if you brew beer at home, like I've done, you make it in your fermenter, and then when it goes into the bottles, that's when it actually gets carbonated.
Okay.
It's completely flat when it goes in the bottles. But you usually put a little bit of sugar in the bottle so the yeast has something to do something with, and that makes carbon dioxide, which makes it fizzy. Well, krausening, instead of using sugar, you put in more beer that's not fermented yet.
Gotcha.
Which still has sugars in it that the yeast can do something with. So there's not straight sugar, it's just other beer that's not done.
I gotcha. Okay.
That's apparently krausening.
Right. Yeah, and it says this process results in cream ale's remarkably creamy white head and a body that is far more distinguished than standard American lagers. So, with that, gentlemen, cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for coming and hanging out tonight for another episode. And yeah, like I said, I love this beer, and it's funny because I go out to Total Wine and pick this thing up. It's a pack of 30 for $15.
It's in the can.
You cannot beat it.
Yeah, it's in a can. I should preface that. Yeah, you can't beat that. So if you want a really good cheap beer that you may love or you may absolutely hate, I recommend checking this out.
And if you hate it, you only wasted $15.
You know,
Exactly.
What's the harm in trying it? So let's talk about this beer real quick. Jamie, like I said before, I believe he knows a lot more about this beer than most. Why don't you give some backstory?
I'm at least closer to it, put it that way. So my mom's side of the family is from upstate New York, Rochester specifically, which is where Wegmans is based, for anybody who doesn't know that. So that's why I was so excited when Wegmans showed up down here. But when we used to go visit my grandfather up there, we had to drive past the Genesee Brewery to get to his house. So before I was even old enough to drink, I knew what Genesee was because I drove past the thing all the time. Didn't smell very good when you drive past it.
Oh, really? What did it smell like?
The beer tastes way better than it smelled.
Did it just smell like rotten?
All breweries sort of smell like bread that you left out too long wet.
Yep.
It's just not a great smell.
I get it.
But they make a variety of things. They make Genesee beer, Genny Light, Genny Cream Ale, and of those, from what I've been told, Genesee Cream Ale is the only one you should even bother trying.
Okay.
Genesee beer is crap. Yeah. It tastes like how much you spent on it.
Yeah, fair
As
enough.
opposed to Genny Cream Ale, which tastes better than what you spent on it.
And it's still not the best beer in the world, folks. It's really not, but it's very, I don't know, I enjoy it for a very, you want that cheap beer, sort of easy to drink,
Right.
and
It's what I'd call a drinking beer.
it's a drinking beer.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's nice. Jojo, what are your thoughts?
It's above utility, obviously, over here. It's very smooth, which is why, they put it together, the lager and the ale, so you get the bitterness, you get the flavors, but you also get the smooth and the finish of it. I like the pairing of the two. I could definitely see myself drinking this, playing video games, watching a movie, just have a night with it. It would be awesome.
So you guys enjoy that. And with that, let's get into the news. So today in the news, we're talking about Industrial Light and Magic. Now, Verge had a really cool article and an awesome video on Facebook kind of demonstrating some of the stuff that Industrial Light and Magic is doing with virtual reality.
So anybody who's not familiar with Industrial Light and Magic, ILM for short, This is from George Lucas's group when they started making Star Wars, how they do a lot of visual effects, special effects, a lot of movies. And it's not just Star Wars, they've gone and done things for Star Trek, the Marvel Universe, a bunch of other big special effects movies that have been affected by ILM.
And let's also not ignore the fact that Lucasfilm was recently bought by Disney.
Yeah.
So think about the capital behind a company like that. A company that their only purpose is to make movies have awesome, really cool effects.
Exactly.
So think about what we're going to be seeing in the next 10 years.
That's exciting.
It's really cool. And that's what I kind of want to get into today. This article talked about some of the ways that we're seeing virtual reality in not just video games, but even on the big screen within other forms of media. So they showed in this video, and I'll link it in the show notes, some of the things that they're doing are just incredible. You can actually bring yourself into a scene. They were showing some of the things that they were doing with the Star Wars franchise, where they had the guy put on a VR glasses.
Right. Something similar to like the Oculus Rift.
Yeah, walked into a space and was interacting with a Velociraptor, with C-3PO and R2-D2.
Right.
They were talking about some of the things that they were doing with the new movie, Star Wars. What is it? Rogue? Not Rogue One. Is it Rebels? No, not Rebels.
What's the name of that freaking movie? Star Wars Rogue.
Yeah, Star Wars Rogue One. And they were talking about the director, Gareth Edwards, and his experience using VR to explore sets for the movie that haven't even been made yet.
Right. So he was able to step into a set that isn't going to be drawn for another year or so, 2 years or so. So he was able to actually be on set, see how everything's going to pan out, so you can frame everything first and then later on put it in later on, which is insane.
The thing that I thought was actually the most impressive about it is that whole technology where you can walk through the set and you can be inside a scene, it's not pre-rendered in any way. That's what blows my mind.
Right.
Is that when the guy was saying that he was like interacting with C-3PO, there was a guy around the corner wearing a motion capture suit that was acting out C-3PO because the whole thing was rendered in real time. Yeah. That's unheard of.
Yeah,
and
they added a tree on the spot. We need a tree over here. So they literally added a tree. Here we go.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second, because what's really cool about that is, as a movie maker, and if you're creating a set and you wanted to add little details, and first of all, Gareth Edwards, one of the things that he said in this video, it blows my mind, he put on this Oculus headset, and he mentioned to the guy, he was like, oh, this looks even better in real life. And the guy who created the whole VR experience looked at one of the set designers and said, hey, did you actually make this set yet? And the guy was like, no, he's talking about what he's experiencing in VR right now.
Right.
And that is just mind-blowing.
Exactly.
But then to be able to go into an environment like that, use some kind of controller or something to make and edit details in the set as the filmmaker, because, you know, your set guys may be making stuff and they may be adding, a control panel over here, but maybe instead of over there, you want it over on the other side of the room, or you wanted to add a tree in a specific spot in the forest, and they kind of talk about that. That's really cool.
It becomes very apparent right now. It's easier to build a set right now. A lot of people can do most anything you want in post, which is fantastic. But being able to edit and see it right now, I think is the better thing, because you have people interacting with things, you have environments. If you have something coming over from the side, let's say a car's driving, now you know, oh, I can't put this light here, I can't put this sign here, I can't put this people here. So it's easier to actually create a scene before it's actually put into post-production.
Yeah, and another thing that really caught my eye in this video was just the experience as the viewer.
Right.
They were talking about some of the things that they were doing for the viewer to experience the media like they've never experienced it before. They were talking about how you could actually be part of the scene. Imagine being in a scene of a movie, and obviously not physically, but witnessing that scene from different points of view.
Because the entire area has been made. So you can go exploring something else while a major event is happening and see what else is happening in the same scene. So it's a total immersion on a different scale.
Yeah, the other thing that they mentioned right along with that is using that same technology for what I think they called instant prequels.
Right.
Where if a character doesn't appear in the scene until 10, 15 minutes in, you can switch to that character's viewpoint, but if you rewind it back to the beginning and watch it from the beginning, you're seeing wherever they are before they ever even got to the movie you already watched.
Right, exactly. What triggered them to go there? Or if, was it happenstance?
Yeah.
C-3PO and R2-D2 are always kind of random happenstance in other movies, so what kind of happened there?
It's
So
infinite number of user experiences.
Right.
Right, and that's just incredible. And just to see a company like Disney helping Lucasfilm basically fund this sort of thing, and I'm sure Lucasfilm has plenty of money on their own.
Right.
But you could see where this will apply even beyond the movies, video games, the Disney theme parks.
Exactly.
Could you imagine just walking into, I don't know, these rides that we're going to see in the next 15 years are going to be unlike anything that we've even begun to imagine.
And that's, I think, what caught me off guard is I'm so used to the Oculus Rift being associated with video games.
Yeah.
And it's such a big platform for everything else as well.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen this article, again, we're going to put it up in the show notes. The video is really, really cool. They also talk about one of the guys that is involved with this whole project, worked on projects like The Matrix. He's been part of a lot of revolutionary video techniques.
Like bullet time from The Matrix.
Yeah, bullet time.
Invented bullet time.
Bullet time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was another volumization thing that he made where Neo was spinning around on a staff, and it looked really cool that he created.
Yeah, so it's obvious that this is just going to change the way that we consume media.
I'm
in
excited,
general.
definitely.
I
I
don't
wish
know
I had a
about
component for
you
3D. I know I'm like the one in like the 50 million, but I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I'm definitely excited for more 3D content.
Exactly.
I accidentally happened into a 3D TV, which I had.
Oops.
Yes, I've watched like one thing in 3D on, so it would be great if I had more things in 3D.
I'll let you
to
borrow
watch.
some Blu-rays.
Awesome.
Yeah, you have some 3D movies.
I do,
don't you?
yes.
Oh, we watched Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes, I love
Oh, I didn't know
Wreck-It
that came out in 3D.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
it's beautiful.
They brought
movie,
So
actually.
Wreck-It Ralph was not a Pixar movie; it was a Disney movie. And then after that was Frozen, which was not a 3D movie.
Wait, that wasn't 3D?
Yeah, and I
never saw it in the
I've never
theaters.
seen-
They did render it in 3D. It was
Okay.
not in theaters in 3D because apparently the 3D Blu-ray is supposed to be coming out at some point in the next year.
So it's
Yeah.
not out yet.
That's the rumor that I heard, was that the 3D Blu-ray was in the works because everybody
Right.
was upset that when the Blu-ray came out it was not in 3D.
Not 3D, exactly.
Well,
Especially after
apparently it's
Wreck-It Ralph.
coming later.
Okay.
Yeah, and we would love to hear from you guys on this. If you guys have seen this article, or if you guys have any thoughts on kind of the way media is evolving, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to shoot us an email, geek30podcast@gmail.com. 30 is spelt out, no numbers or anything. Or tweet us at Geek30. And again, no numbers or anything. So with that, let's move on to the next topic. Something that is near and dear to my heart because I love this franchise so much. The Assassin's Creed franchise is coming to a big screen. And we've seen other video games come to the big screen at times. It's a little, I don't know, iffy, right? I mean, we can kind of say that certain movies have not done so well. One of them I can remember, Prince of Persia was not so great. Jake Gyllenhaal. What other movies were not?
Ironically speaking, before I even go into that, Prince of Persia is Assassin's Creed, by the way.
Oh yeah, it totally is. Totally,
For those who don't know that.
And that's there's a reason why I bring that up because it's basically the same game. What other games have come into
The movies, Double Dragon was horrible.
Yeah,
Super
that's
Mario
pretty bad.
Brothers was horrible.
That's the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah,
It's the one that
Super
looked like it had
Mario.
Ron Jeremy in it.
So
but it has
yeah,
Ron Jeremy in it.
no.
Street Fighter came out with Jean-Claude Van Damme and it was horrible.
Yeah, it was really
Mortal
bad.
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
That was just violent.
The first one was amazing. The second one, I don't know where they went. They just got a completely different cast. Some people took it seriously, some people didn't. It was insane. So they started Mortal Kombat well. They just didn't finish it very well.
No, I'm trying to think of others.
Resident Evil started off solid, and then it just became a cash cow.
I never got into those movies. I
like the first one. It wasn't
Did
that
you?
bad.
Yeah.
Michelle
You're a big
Rodriguez,
movie buff, though. So
Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez dies again because she dies in every movie.
Oh, yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
you go also where she dies.
Yeah, you guys should see Jojo's wall of movies. he has how many shelves?
So I used to. They were
You don't
IKEA
have it
shelves.
anymore.
No, I've actually consolidated everything to a suitcase now.
Really?
Right.
That's a big deal.
Because it took up so much space.
Media server.
I'm working on that too. I'm going to get myself a Jojo at some point and just start ripping everything.
I did that a long time ago.
It makes everything easier, and then just put it on Plex, and you're good to go.
Yep.
And so I had 11 of the IKEA shelves, and they were all full. I actually had DVDs off of the shelves because I didn't have any more room for it.
Guys, that's ridiculous.
It was, I think I measured at one point, it was about 8 feet wide and about 7 feet tall, and it was just all DVDs and Blu-rays.
That sounds expensive.
Yeah, I remember walking in and seeing all that. My mind was blown. I was like, dude, you watch all these? And he actually really does.
Yeah, well, I watch them as soon as I buy them. Usually within the first week or so.
Yeah, but you still go back and you still watch them, though. It's not even like you're just watching once, really.
Well,
I mean, you're pretty
the movies, yes. The anime, it's been a while. Because
fair enough.
Certain ones, like Rurouni Kenshin, is a 28 DVD set. I think 29, I just bought one recently. I don't know why. So that's a commitment there that I'm not ready to invest in.
Jeez. Yeah, and Jamie's got his vast library of
Yeah, I've got my Plex Media server.
Yeah,
I've got a 2 terabyte drive hanging off of that, which is constantly full, so I keep having to delete things when I try to add new stuff to it.
Definitely helps. Well, back to topic, though. I mean, the Assassin's Creed movie looks pretty sweet just because Michael Fassbender looks awesome as an assassin.
It looked awesome. Yeah,
I didn't play the Assassin's Creed games, but I've seen all the artwork and the box art and everything, and I saw that picture, and I literally thought it was the box art that they were showing as an example for what it's going to look like when you see the picture.
Yeah,
but that was the picture.
It's pretty cool. I mean, the idea behind this movie and what they were explaining is that it doesn't follow the video games at all. I mean, well, they were explaining that maybe the things that happen in this movie will start to come into the games, maybe. But he's playing a completely different character. And if you guys are familiar with the Assassin's Creed, the whole franchise, and you're familiar with the basis of the story, but it's essentially you have ancestors back in the day, this order of assassins that would be called to kill people. Obviously, they're assassins, but it's a fight against a group called the Templars. But the twist on the whole story was that you would play somebody in modern day going back in time using this machine from a corporation called Abstergo. You go back in time and experience what your ancestor had gone through as an assassin, and your ancestor lives in some kind of time period, whether that be back in the Crusades or more recently during the French Revolution, which was a little bit of a rough game by Ubisoft and a lot of issues in Assassin's Creed Unity. But that's a whole other story for another time. So
floating eyeballs.
Yeah, floating eyeballs, exactly. So the idea here is the same. In this movie, we're going to see Michael Fassbender playing both the person in modern day and playing an assassin back in, they said the time period. I'll put the link up to the article. But playing the assassin back in time as well, and I believe it was in Spain. So Jojo and I could appreciate that, given our heritage. And that's pretty freaking cool. I'm very interested. The picture looks awesome of him in the assassin's outfit. He's got the dual-wielding, little blade things on his wrists. And so that's definitely cool. But it leads to another question. I'm actually excited about this because I like Michael Fassbender as an actor.
Definitely. He does some great stuff.
Yeah. What are other games that you would love to see transformed into a movie, and who would you love to see play that role?
I think mostly I would hope Michael Bay doesn't produce them. Explosion. No context. Explosions.
Yeah. Lens flare.
Exactly.
A lot of lens flare.
That's J.J. Abrams.
Oh, right. My fault.
I got him mixed up too. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm opening another beer.
There we go. Again, I'm retro. I would love to see a Mega Man series, but that's just me being crazy,
Okay.
I think the graphics nowadays would be fun.
But real life?
Right.
Or would you like to see it like Pixar animated?
I don't know that was like Pixar. The moment it went Pixar, so the later versions of Mega Man, the original 6 on Nintendo had a theme to him. It was all 8-bit and whatever. And the illustrations, as they progressed through the Super Nintendo series and a couple of other series, became a very sort of Japanese kiddie type of rendition of this Mega Man. I wasn't a very big fan of that, so I don't know if I want an animated version of that. That being said, Mega Man is only like 3 feet tall, 4 feet tall, something ridiculous.
Well, he's like a kid, right?
Exactly.
I don't know too much about like Mega Man lore or whatever. So
Right. So I don't know if I would put someone. I don't even remember the name of the guy who played like Willow and all the different Star Trek. Like
I don't know.
Why am I looking this up? Someone who's vertically challenged, basically.
Vertically challenged
to play that role. Like, I don't know that would work so well. So it would kind of have to be kind of a mix of the two. I would like to see something realistic, but obviously maybe even like a Speed Racer kind of take on it. The recent Wachowski brothers version.
Actually, that's
fun.
cool. That,
you know,
and going back to the previous story, they talked about that in that Verge article about the virtual reality stuff. They talked briefly about that concept of that production style. It's something like
Warwick Davis is the person I was thinking of.
Warwick Davis.
Yes.
Okay.
I've
seen him in a bunch of stuff.
Exactly. Someone who's going to be height appropriate for that, but something in that. Well, not that would have him play that role, but somebody in that sort of realm of
of like height.
Exactly.
I almost would feel like a kid, like how they're doing the Spider-Man and they're actually making him a kid.
I'm excited
in
for that,
the Marvel Cinematic
Yes.
Universe. I think that would be cool to have a kid, maybe 15, 16 years old.
Right. Well,
playing a character like
the persona, what I've always felt for Mega Man has been a persona of someone who's in their mid-teens, like a 15, 16-year-old, and someone in the body of like an 8-year-old. So I don't know if that could be pulled off, because it's just a really small person.
In my head, the style of Mega Man seems like it would lend itself well to something like the style of Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yes,
right, exactly.
Where it's like a weird mishmash of live action but pixel art somehow.
No, that'd be fantastic.
Totally.
And that I think would work for Mega Man.
Right.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
By far, definitely, hands down.
God. I could watch that movie every freaking day.
I'm about to put it on right now.
I have it. We can watch it right after this.
We will do that.
Jamie, what about you?
The one game that I would have always loved to see made into a movie, and I think at this point it's too far gone, it's not going to happen, but Metroid.
Oh, wow.
I would have loved to see it,
Oh.
especially if you took something like what I think is the best of the series, Super Metroid.
Right.
Yeah.
Where the whole premise of the game is you just start off stranded on this world, you don't know what's going on, and as you go, you start opening the world up, it comes to life,
Exactly.
things happening, and you're trying to survive. You realize you now have to like fight off something that's trying to destroy this whole world, and that would make a really interesting movie.
Right.
And it wouldn't have
That'd
to
be
have...
a great beginning, too.
Yeah. For people who aren't familiar with the series,
Right.
it would be a real shock as things start unraveling and start unfolding. But for people who are familiar with it, it would feel right at home. And I think it would be easy to do in a live-action setting without completely botching it.
So
Right.
who would play Samus?
See, that's the thing. I feel like it would have to be an unknown. Because if it stars somebody
Scarlett
huge
Johansson
and
in
big,
there.
she could probably pull it off. But
Right.
if that's what it, if it's somebody everyone's familiar with, they're gonna it's the new so and so.
Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
Uma Thurman would be great in it.
I feel like she's too old for that now.
You think?
She might be.
Maybe.
No.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
It's been like 20 years. Yeah, that was like 90s though, wasn't it? The early 2000s?
Kill Bill era Uma Thurman would be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, somebody like that, but someone who maybe isn't the biggest star in the world.
See, when you said that, I was thinking like Jennifer Lawrence.
That would be good. Yeah, that would actually be really good.
You know what I mean?
would watch
somebody
that.
kind of stoic who could pull off like a stoic kind of persona.
Yeah, because it would probably be minimal on dialogue.
Right.
Because if you've ever played a Metroid game,
that's
there's no one to talk to.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to talk to
they're not
Metroid.
going to want to pay somebody millions of dollars like Jennifer Lawrence, who's brilliant. She's a great actress. She's one of my favorites. But I don't think that they would have the budget to hire somebody like her.
I wonder if we could put somebody else in there, like Emma Stone, or someone who doesn't actually necessarily need to talk, but just could do. Because I like Jennifer Lawrence's stoicness. I don't know.
Yeah.
Emma Stone could work.
Emma Stone. I mean, there's tons of blonde women out there, or people who could be blonde. We've got faces for that.
Dyeing the hair.
Exactly.
But yeah, you're right. It's got to be somebody who can do the role without saying anything.
But you have to be able to act. You have to be able to say something without saying something. You have to be able to act in
Tom Hanks
presence.
in Castaway.
Exactly.
The 30 minutes or whatever it is that he literally doesn't speak.
Right.
But somehow you don't get bored because things are still happening.
Exactly.
See, if it were up to me, I think one of my favorite video game franchises of all time is Uncharted.
Okay.
And to me, I don't know, I've always, and they've been talking about making a movie or whatever for it. I don't know if it's necessarily locked in or not, but I've always felt like an actor like Nathan Fillion would be awesome playing Drake. Did you guys ever play those games?
I didn't.
I was always in Microsoft. I was never a Sony guy.
Oh,
I know,
bro! It was like the reason.
It was Sony.
Oh,
yeah,
totally.
it's the reason why I PS 3, 4, 8.
Yeah, but like a game like that. But Warcraft is coming out, and you guys know from the previous episode my stupid appreciation for Warcraft. My little 10 minute
Lots of good
rant.
feedback about that, by the way. I don't understand it, but it was fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Apologies, after the fact for my rant, but I'm passionate about that shit.
It's awesome.
Whatever. But no, that's interesting insight, you guys. I think that we're in this weird phase of movies where it's very there's not a lot of original content coming out. You know what I mean?
There really isn't.
Everybody's a remake at this point.
It's a remake. We're seeing like Ghostbusters coming back.
Exactly.
They're just making all these movies from movies made 20 plus years ago.
Right.
And even from video games like Assassin's Creed, they're taking IPs that are they're just not original.
I think the movie approach to Assassin's Creed is going to be a little bit different, and I think I like the way they're doing that. Mm-hmm. But it's still, you're taking an idea from someone else in order to make that movie, in order to make that happen.
Yeah.
Isn't there a Warcraft movie coming out as well?
Well, that's what I was saying.
It's
coming out, and it's going to be out, what is it, like summer next year or something?
Right.
But it just kind of begs the question, are we going to see, when are we going to see original content come? And how long is this trend going to last?
I mean, it's also kind of in, not to take a shot at your group, it's also in the audio environment because everything's remixed now. Everything, you take just old music and put a beat on top of it, and hey, you make millions of dollars. And like, wait, that wasn't even your own content. The heck?
Boots and cats and boots and cats, boots and cats.
You just described Flow Ride's entire career. Flow Ride's the worst. The chorus, he didn't even change the chorus.
Exactly.
It's the same song, and then he just raps over the verse.
Remember that Nickelback song? Like we overlapped those like two Nickelback songs.
I have that on my computer.
Every Nickelback song sounds the same.
Well, no, I have literally. I have an MP3 called Nickelback Sucks.mp3, and it's one song on the left channel, one song on the right channel, and they're identical.
I feel like this is the same.
There's no editing except for putting them together.
I feel like this is the same thing that we saw. Oh my god, it's funny. So I just wonder at what point this trend is going to be over. I think that we maybe see this for another, 5 years at most.
Well, because everything has to be planned out. I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is planned out until like 2019 or 2021, something like that.
And that's totally cool. Don't get me wrong.
No, that's cool. But
I'm great with it.
With Hollywood, everything's planned 3 years in advance, and another year to 2 years to actually make. So everything's 5 years in the making.
I just think maybe like 5 years from now, people are going to finally become like, okay, well, like they've
remade the remake.
We know this story. We're going to see Peter Parker's origin story again for like the third time.
Except Sony's going to put him from high school to college in like 12 seconds.
I forgot. How does Bruce Wayne's parents die? I forgot.
Shot in an alley.
What? Oh, really? Yeah. I had no idea.
No. They've never showed that before.
Yeah, no, never.
No. Bruce Wayne grew up as an orphan, except for his brother.
What?
Yeah, in a big rich house. I don't know.
No idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
So that didn't fester for like 20 years or whatever.
When I saw that in the Batman versus Superman trailer, I was like, oh my god, we're going through this again? Are you kidding me?
The show Gotham, I keep seeing ads. I don't watch, but I've seen ads for it. And the very first few episodes, they were showing Bruce Wayne as a kid being talked to by a cop because his parents were just like, okay, we get it.
And look, guys, like
they're not going to get any more dead.
I get it because that's what makes Batman who he is. That's a very pivotal point in his development into the Batman.
Right.
But holy shit, I'm done with that. Like let's move on.
At some point, there has to be enough versions of it out there that if you say, I think I want to get into Batman, it's going to come up. It's going to show up.
Yeah.
You're going to find out.
It's crazy to me.
Well, there's you have, for those of us who subscribe to cable, I don't, but you have, 1,200 channels. It's going to be kind of the same thing with Batman at this point, where you just have 1,200 different editions of Batman. Which flavor of Batman do you want? Which flavor of Spider-Man do you want? Which flavor of Iron Man do you want at this point? Iron Man's, I'm not going to take any shots at that, because that's kind of a new take on everything right now.
Bro, from our experience, we need like a good 3 hour segment to talk about Marvel. Because we stayed up until 3 in the morning talking about that.
We had a 3 hour, and we weren't done, so I don't know that.
It's not even done yet. It was a nice little argument. Just don't say Ant-Man around Jojo, that's all it is. So moving on to the next topic, another cool article that I found was that they're making a Doctor Who Lego set.
Yes.
And this is super relevant, at least to me, because I've been, as you guys know from the last episode, I've been kind of catching up on Doctor Who. I know I'm late to the game, I get it, but I'm appreciating the hell out of it.
Right.
We're just glad you're getting into the game.
I know.
Yeah, we're happy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Get in whenever you want.
So good. Like I'm back into it, and I just saw the first episode with Matt Smith as the Doctor. I've been binge watching the hell out of it. And
it takes a couple episodes to get into his stride, but once he hits his stride, you'll see it. It's awesome.
But this Lego set is really cool, and the visuals, the box art and stuff that they show shows David Tennant's character, hair and all, that crazy like wicked pompadour, big pompadour, and
teased his hair. I'm sorry.
And it's cool. Rose Tyler is in it. They have the Daleks and all these different characters. And it takes me back to the day when, gosh, I was in, middle school or something, and I was on this kick where I was just collecting every single Star Wars Lego piece that I could have ever gotten my hands on, and I had this huge collection. I'm pretty sure I still have it, probably somewhere in somebody's basement somewhere. But it actually kind of got me excited, and I was thinking, that would be kind of cool to go and
because they recently came out with a lot of cool things. They came out with the Ghostbusters Lego set. They came out with the Back to the Future Lego set. They've been doing Star Wars forever. Even if you see the Lego movie, they have so many different IPs. They brought so many different. They had Marvel. They had Batman. They had all kinds of crazy things.
They're bringing back all this old stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Old stuff.
That's because all of us were fans of it when we were kids, and now we're old enough and have enough money to actually buy this stuff.
They're reselling this our childhood.
Exactly.
And we're paying for it.
I'm
dropping cold hard cash for it. I'm not lying.
I'll pay for it. Whatever.
Exactly.
But I mean, does this speak to you guys? This Lego set, like, it speaks to me. Like, would you guys go and buy this as adults? I mean, obviously, Lego is something that kind of speaks to folks like us, but it's obviously kind of geared towards kids.
Right.
So, what about you guys? Is this something you guys would ever?
I would buy it in a heartbeat. I actually have a couple Lego sets up on display in my home studio. I've got a Volkswagen camper bus that I got last year for Christmas that had 1 million pieces and took forever. The motorized AT-AT walker that actually walks.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's cool. I've never seen that.
Was that part of Technics or not?
No, that was part of the regular set, but it came with a little Lego motor, and all the legs are actuated and everything. So I would absolutely buy it. I've been waiting for Doctor Who Lego to become a thing for a long time. And I was really happy to see in the announcement that they had a picture of the TARDIS console. Because that's the thing I really want. I just want a big, giant Lego TARDIS console.
Okay, wait, but which one? The David Tennant?
I don't
console?
even care. My dream would be if they somehow the roundels. Yes, if they somehow produced like a whole run of them with every single console room. You would buy them all and had the little Dr. minifig with all of them. I would collect them all.
Done.
Yeah, so
buy money.
Exactly.
I don't know from the pictures. I don't remember if I saw like a Matt Smith or anything. But I got it. No, actually, I do remember. I believe they had Matt Smith, but they introduced like Peter Capaldi's Doctor. And they specifically showed the eyebrows, those big thick eyebrows.
Attack eyebrows.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Again, I saw that and was super pumped. So I just at least wanted to bring that up here.
See, I like the idea of it. And if they do all the Doctors, I would collect all the Doctors. But it's with the sets, it becomes kind of a definitive piece. And Legos to me were always you build something, you break it, you build something new. So the sets are awesome to me, and it would be something I would put on my desk at work.
Yeah.
But I want just
totally.
regular Legos to, mess around with and keep, creating with.
Yeah, for me, the Legos are in two different piles.
Right, exactly.
There's the ones that I build with, which is just a huge box of random stuff, and that's where the fun is.
Right.
And there's the other set that you buy because, hey, that looks neat, and I want it on the shelf.
Exactly.
Did you guys ever go through... I never did this, but did you guys ever do the super glue and...
I have not. No, I've never made anything permanent.
No?
No.
The Crackle, whatever it is. Is it the Crackle?
Yeah, the Lego movie. So good. So you guys have both seen that movie, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's so good. It's on HBO right now.
It comes on HBO all the time.
On demand.
And now I got my kids watching it now, too.
It's so good.
Everything is awesome.
What does Ellie think about it? Ellie was singing that song. Ellie is Jamie's oldest.
Yeah, she's my oldest daughter. She's 4.5, and she hears that song and somehow gets stuck in her head, and for the next 4 or 5 days, all you hear is, everything is awesome.
Yeah.
You're usually telling her to let it go, which brings another song on.
No, that gets her little sister going.
Oh, okay.
And that never goes away. Frozen has never left my house.
No.
I think Disney actually wrote an apology to all the parents because of Let It Go.
They should.
I think it's an official thing. I think look it up, it's an official thing that there's like, I'm sorry, this is so catchy, and all your kids are singing it repeatedly.
But guys, it's a really good song.
Don't get me wrong, it's a great song. All the music from that whole movie is fantastic. Yeah. But anything gets old on like the 400th time through.
Yeah, I remember hearing you had to sing that to Ellie on repeat because you learned how to play it on the guitar, right?
On
Jamie?
the guitar, on the piano, on pretty much anything that I was playing at the time. Because no matter what I picked up, I said, "Oh, I'll play you a song. What do you want? Let it go." Well, how about we do something else? No, let it go. Okay,
see, I don't have kids,
it is.
And so this is me saying something as someone who doesn't have kids. I'd be like, okay, I've let it go, and I put the guitar down, I put the piano down. It's like, this is what you requested.
And that, folks, is how you teach your kid to be a smartass.
I would have horrible kids.
Oh, that'd be great.
I think you'd have screaming kids.
I'd have screaming kids.
That's the problem. That's why you don't do that. You go, all right, whatever you want, sure.
Yeah. So we brought Jamie on the show not only to provide his insight on the geeky things that we talk about, but also kind of to share some of his own passions in life. We kind of talked about some of the music and some of the creative things that he does here for the show. Jamie's become very handy with building things and fixing things, and specifically with music and technology.
Speaking of the Doctor Who console,
right? Yeah, Jamie can just build one. So
I really kind of want to if I had a good place to put it.
Yeah, so Jamie, why don't you share a little bit about some of the projects that you've been working on?
Yeah, so a long time ago, I never really knew how to build anything, electronic or otherwise, and at some point I realized that I really wanted to. So I just kind of went out and decided to start Googling things and watching YouTube videos, and I got a couple books on electronics to figure out exactly how electronics work, like what do resistors and capacitors actually do. They're on every circuit board you've ever seen, but unless you know what they do, you can't make any sense of them. And after playing around with them and tinkering and frying a whole bunch of things, I've actually gotten to where I can actually build things, which is awesome. So I've built from a kit. It's called the Nebula Phone. It's a little instrument, and there's a little keyboard on it that you can play with a little alligator clip. And there's no case or anything. It's just a circuit board, and you plug it into an amp, and it sounds awesome.
Nice.
And it's got a bunch of effects built into it and all sorts of things. I've also started building guitar effects pedals, both from designs I found online and then trying to tweak them for myself to say, yeah, that sounds cool, but maybe if I used this instead, it would sound even better.
Oh, I owe you that distortion pedal, I think.
Yeah, you have a dead pedal,
yeah,
or dying pedal.
Jamie wants to take a distortion pedal that I have for my guitar and turn it into a fuzz box, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I am all about that because I definitely want a good fuzz box. Needed to replace that distortion pedal anyway. But no, it's really cool, and I've gotten to see some of the stuff he's done firsthand. What about that little pine box guitar?
So a while ago I found out about something called cigar box guitars. I don't know if either of you guys are familiar with cigar box guitars, but it's essentially taking a cigar box, like a wooden box that you bought cigars in, and then you attach a guitar neck to it and put fasteners on for the strings and use the cigar box as the sounding box of the guitar.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it makes a little kind of twangy sound. Sounds kind of like something you'd imagine someone in the wilderness on a mountainside playing. But they're super fun to play. And I didn't have a cigar box I was willing to give up, but I had a bunch of scrap pine. So I took all this pine and I sawed it down and made a box and carved out a neck and put a fretboard on it and had tuners in the top and found bits of metal for the bottom. And I'll be damned if the thing doesn't work. It really works. And it's super fun to play.
Yeah, I've seen it firsthand. It's really neat. And he's very good about picking up on that stuff and learning. So where did that inspiration start? Is there? I mean, you've always been kind of a curious person, but I mean, is there an origin to that? Or
I think it's two things. One is that I've always kind of think why I'm a computer engineer by trade is that people who have the engineer sort of mind are curious. You want to tinker and things. You want to take it apart. You want to see what makes it work. You want to take it apart.
Yeah.
Exactly. You want to put it back together and see if it works the same ways it did. It usually doesn't. Like they always say, if it works, you haven't tinkered with it enough. So that's how I kind of got curious about it. But then the thing that really got me hands-on was when we bought a house. Because once we bought a house, we had all these things we wanted to do to the house and didn't have the money we would have needed to do all these things to the house. I started saying, it can't be that hard. I ought to be able to put up a wall. I ought to be able to remodel a bathroom. Sure, I can put in a patio, take the deck down and put on a paver stone patio. And once you start doing those, you start building to your skill set, and you realize, hey, this isn't all that hard. It's just built on the last skill I learned. Right. And the longer you go, and suddenly you wake up one morning and realize you're actually capable.
Yeah, so, it's definitely really cool. It's an accomplishment.
On your resume.
Yeah, and going over to his house and seeing some of the things that he's done and working on that patio, I helped dig up a nice big hole with him in that backyard.
Yes, both thank you and I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're welcome and thanks. Seeing that, it's definitely cool. I wish that I had all the handiness that he has, but it's definitely cool to see that. And on that same note, when it comes to this sort of creativity, what do you see in your kids? You've got 2 kids. Can you talk about your kids, because I think they're hilarious and I love them.
It's funny, they're completely polar opposites almost.
Yeah.
The older one, in a lot of ways, is they're both actually almost a perfect mix of me and my wife, just completely different parts of us. The older one, Ellie, she always has been very engineering minded. She builds things. She likes to build towers. She gets blocks and things and tries to see how high she can stack them, and tries to make things out of them, and she'll do crafts and fashion things out of paper and all sorts of really creative things. And Avery is like a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
She will... The biggest problem we have is Ellie builds something, Avery knocks it over.
Oh no.
That's her primary mode of action is destruction. But she's creative about her destruction.
Tell the story about Avery and the rice.
Oh, jeez. So, I had been making rice. I was making like chicken and rice and vegetables for dinner or something. And it was that rice instant rice where you put it in the pan and you cook it for 5 minutes with the lid and you take it off and leave it off.
Right.
And just set it there. So I had taken it off with the heat and I set it at the back of the stove with the lid on. And I go in the other room to see what Ellie's doing, and I hear a kind of a scraping, clanking sound. And I'm like, what is happening? So I come back in the kitchen. Avery has gone to the other room, gotten a chair from the kitchen table, dragged it to the stove, gotten up on the chair, dragged the pot from the back of the stove, taken the lid off, and is about to scoop handfuls of boiling rice out of the pan.
And how old is Avery?
She just turned 2.
There you go.
Not the age at which you should be touching anything on the stove.
No, I mean, you shouldn't be touching anything I guess anything that hot with your bare hands ever, but a 2-year-old that has the know-how to take a freaking chair.
She is crafty.
She engineered that solution.
She did. It's a completely different side of
it's
the
a different approach, but they both have their father's engineering talents. And Ellie's my goddaughter, and I remember going over there the other day and playing with her, and we were talking about the Lego tower that she was building, and I suggested one little thing that she should definitely do, and she said, no, you can't, no. And then she said,
very strong-willed.
She said, this is the way it needs to be. And I said, okay, all right. Whatever you say, homegirl. So it's definitely funny. We appreciate you sharing your passion for all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with that, I think it's time to wrap it up.
I think it's a good time to end right here.
All right, Jojo, where can people reach us?
As always, We have a Geek30 podcast at Gmail account, and 30 is written out, it's not numbers. So Geek30 podcast at gmail.com. We have a Twitter handle at Geek30, again, spelled out. Or you can even call us, leave us a voicemail, 443-424-3350.
Yes, and by the way, folks, we are now on Stitcher and iTunes. For all you iTunes listeners out there, give us a 5-star rating, and be sure to subscribe. We would really appreciate the support. And of course, special thanks to our guest, Jamie Sweetland, for all of his insight.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
And thank you for all the awesome work you do from a production standpoint and all the awesome music that you make.
If it's catchy, it's his fault.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And thank you to you guys for listening. We really appreciate all the support. Great feedback from the last show. We're looking forward to making more.
Keep it coming.
Yeah, so you guys take care. We'll see you next time. See ya. All right.